Michael Popak, the unitary executive theory may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. It's the stupidest theory I've ever heard of because, and I'm not trying to, just use abrasive language or what. I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, our government was created as a reaction to and as a rejection of the monarchy, right? I mean, the French philosophers who, in enlightened ways, talked about these ideas that made its way into our Declaration of Independence and then our Constitution. They were a reaction to people like, Louis the 14th, right? Who would say one king, one law, one faith. So, and monarchs, who were running, who used to rule America like dictators, kings. We were a rejection to kings. So this idea of a unitary president is a king repackaged in the word president, and it's ridiculous. So I say, if by conservative, the mask off moment is that they really meant conserving a monarchy, I just wish these kind of pathetic people, these gaslighters, would just go on and say that's what they really mean. That they look at Kim Jong-un and they look at Xi Jinping and they look at Vladimir Putin, and that their views actually are that in a complicated society, as we head into 2026 and beyond, 2025, as we're here now, it was just too complicated to have democracy. It's too messy. Co-equal branches of government, judicial review, Congress being a check on executive power and being co-equal. Well, this whole thing is just a mess. We need dictators, right, Popak? I mean, that's fundamentally what they're saying. But the same way they got us here by using bullshit frameworks of, oh, I'm an originalist, I'm a strict textualist, and I believe that each word has its important point. Okay, well, what about the second? What about the Second Amendment that talks about regulation?
Wait, what about the wait? I agree with you. The textualism even doesn't work because the role of the Supreme Court in the three co-equal branches of government to declare what the law is and to rein in the executive branch or the congressional branch is nowhere in the Constitution. It's from a case. It's from Marbury versus Madison and Justice Marshall. If he hadn't interpreted the not the language because it's absent, the role of the Supreme Court, other than the fact that there is a Supreme Court, there was no owner's manual in the Constitution. There isn't. I defy anybody to go look at it to tell you what it is supposed to do in the co-equal branches of government. It was up to an 1807 case. Before that, they were kind of scrambling, like, I don't know what we do. And now people were like, oh, the Supreme Court said something. Oh, that's interesting, but we're not going to abide by it. It was that case. So I never understand originalism. I never understand textualism because the very existence of the Supreme Court isn't based on text in the Constitution.
These are frameworks, heads I win, tails you lose, types of frameworks, right? I mean, it is a framework created where ultimately you have the outcome already decided, but then you give it a filter so that you don't act like you pre-decided what you want your answer to be. And then ultimately, if one interpretation doesn't work, you just move on to your other framework and your lens, and then you justify it through that. And now they brought us to this point where now they're unitary executive, which they've always been talking about and flirting with. And, and it was discussed in law schools. Oh, the unitary executive this, the unitary executive that. Well, now you have somebody who looks up to Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. You have someone who hates our democracy, hates the American history, loves Kim Jong-un, thinks Xi Jinping's the greatest thing, loves Vladimir Putin, and wants to rule as a dictator that America was a reaction against. That's what we have right now. And by the way, a bumbling, fumbling idiot too, a dumbo as well in the White House who's an idiot, who doesn't read his own deals. He gets scared and he goes, oh, the markets are crashing. I guess I'm going to pull the tariffs. I guess I'm going to put the tariffs. I guess I'm going to pull the tariffs. Oh, what a stupid deal. It's your deal, the USMCA. I mean, so now we have idiocracy, kleptocracy, dictatorship, authoritarianism. And they're like, well, to be or not to be, the unitary executive theory, just say what it is. Let's be honest about it. And then we can have a debate and a discussion about it. And I reject authoritarianism. I reject the oligarchs. I don't want to see that here in the United States of America. That's not what our Constitution is. It isn't even a close freaking call.
Welcome back. We named it Legal AF 5 years ago for a reason.